Grab your spears and raise your tomahawks, Seminole fans. You're listening and watching The Warpath, the weekly collaboration between the Osceola.com and Warchant.com. My name is Nick Carlisle, staff writer for the Osceola, and that is Matt Lasser, who is on the road, recruiting writer for Warchant. Welcome to the show, everybody. Matt, you are in a hotel room and not in your humble abode, just 5 short minutes away from Doak Campbell Stadium. So, pray tell, what are you doing not in your humble abode?
Yeah, I wanted to do was it Brad Nessler? You are looking live at a hotel room you are looking live at a Holiday Inn in Birmingham, Alabama. I think it's a Holiday Inn Express and Suites. I don't know. It's a Holiday Inn, but it's I'm in Birmingham for the basketball expedition game last night. That was for the first time we are recording on Friday morning, guys. So this should be the most up to date episode ever. And luckily, it's a away weekend,
which is great because it's been a slow week. But go ahead.
It has been a slow week. But yeah, I'm in Birmingham for the basketball game last night. It was a lot of fun. We'll be driving back to Tallahassee here. Probably when the episode's out, I'll be on the road. So maybe I'll do some self-reflecting and listen to it while I'm in the car.
Is this your first time that you've been in Birmingham?
This is. I learned interesting alcohol law. I was telling you before we started in Alabama that you can't. So I bought a 6-pack from a gas station, and you can't walk out with just a 6-pack. You need to put it in a bag, or else that is like illegal, and you can get arrested for it.
I really can't think of like any other state that has. Well, I'm sure there's other states that have laws like that. Hey, if you leave a comment down below, I'm sure Tom will have fun parsing through those comments. What's a weird alcohol law in your state? No. So you were seeing the basketball team.
Yep.
Exhibition game against Alabama. I followed along closely, was doing some other work when they were scrimming. How did the team look? What were some of your takeaways? And Luke Laux' first appearance as Florida State head basketball coach.
You know, we're all not for moral victories, but that's the biggest moral victory you can get. And it's a preseason game, so maybe we should be for moral victories. But when you can take a top 15 team to the wire like they did last night, I think they made it not a huge statement because again, probably not that many people were watching across the country or whatever. But that's Florida State. They can compete with anybody. That's not a team that was voted. They were just voted 15th by the media to off ACC tip off to place 15th in the ACC. Sorry, I stumbled on my words there. But that is not a team that's going to be placing 15th. Like this team is much better than that. They can compete with anybody. If the ACC is as bad as it was last year, they could probably compete towards the top, in my opinion.
And there is one basketball note on the docket here. Kevin Thomas, who Florida State had been after, he does decide today at 3:30. So the Warpath is going to go live at 3 o'clock. Thomas is going to decide promptly 30 minutes after this goes live. What's kind of the temperature check on what Thomas is going to be, what his decision is going to be? Is it going to be Florida State? Is it going to be somebody else? Where's he leaning right now?
As of Wednesday, I think this was an LSU lean, but there wasn't an official decision that I had heard on Wednesday. I would still probably lean LSU going into a few hours before the commitment, but this is the FSU-LSU battle down the stretch. So would I be that surprised if Florida State was the choice? No, but I do expect LSU. And this is the last, just to put it out there, this is probably the last guy in the 2026 cycle that they're really involved with. After this one, there's nobody. They were in on Abdou Toure, but he cut Florida State from the list into a top 3, so decided not to take that official visit. So this is your last hurrah for the 26 class, but either way, you're going to end up with a top 5, top 3 class with what you have. And I mean, if Kevin Thomas does choose FSU, that gives that Alabama official visit weekend an 100% hit rate.
Well, Florida State did have a couple of official visitors over the weekend for the Pitt game. One of them being Chris Carbon, who's been on campus multiple times before. This one, officially Matt Lasser, came out of that visit saying that Florida State was his leader. Does still have to see Auburn, may potentially see an additional school. But at least right now, Florida State looks like it's in a really good position to land Carbon, who obviously was committed to Georgia Tech at one time, is now no longer committed to the Yellow Jackets. How do you feel about Florida State's chances? I feel like we've been consistent in saying that we felt good. We felt like Florida State could get this done if he officially visits and he had a good time. Seems like that was the case. Do you think there's still the potential for another school to sweep in here and take back that number 1 spot from Florida State?
Yeah, the only the only one who could is really Auburn, because that's what I think this next visit is. But yeah, in general, we've been pretty consistent saying FSU has a really good shot here, and I don't think anything has changed unless there's like Auburn puts out a big NIL deal or something like that. But it's even Auburn is having coaching issues right now, right? Like Hugh Freeze is considered on the hot seat and could be fired this year and add to this carousel. So that makes it even more interesting. Obviously, if Florida State loses to Stanford, we are talking about a ton of decommits ourselves, but that's besides the point. I think Florida State's been in a good spot here. The way they've clearly been pushing, clearly have made him a priority, and we've been saying that all along. It showed a lot to me that he visited for the Alabama game, which was the first time he could after he got offered. It was a dead period up until then. So he visited the first chance he could, and then he gets this official visit. This official visit was supposed to be for the Miami game. Obviously, it moved back because Florida State in general wanted to move their OVs to these last 3 games: Pitt, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech. So, but again, obviously went well. I don't think there's any surprises for either of us here that he named Florida State as leader coming out of the OV.
Yeah, some housekeeping too, dude. Jacob Curry went on ahead and committed to Oklahoma, as multiple people thought he would. Thought that Florida State may be able to get in there and have a chance. Obviously, hometown package might being able to entice him there for a second. But before he was able to get on campus for his official visit last Saturday, he went ahead and committed to the Sooners. So
more importantly, only about 30 minutes before the show dropped and giving us no chance to edit it because it was already ready to go. So that's another note.
Eventually, Matt Lacer, I feel like we're just going to have to move this to a live show. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get ahead of some of these things.
I think it's impossible in recruiting. I don't like, even if we do the live show, I feel like we'd get screwed.
Yeah, but I mean, at least we can go back and say, oh, hey, here's this breaking news. Hey, something that we said 20 minutes ago. It happens. It happens in recruiting. But yes, I don't know. A live show could be fun. Logistically, we'll have to work something out, but hey, maybe we can work it out with Gene, and maybe we get Michael Langston on too. Maybe we can get all three of the recruiting guys on for a live show eventually. But yeah, Jacob Curry went ahead and committed to Oklahoma. Chris Carbon named Florida State his leader officially coming out of that official visit. Franklin Whitley, somebody that we briefly touched on last week, massive.
I'm happy you briefly touched on it or brought it up on the show now, because the announcement that he was officially visiting happened after.
Yeah,
so good work by you.
Hey, I've got that foresight. Big, massive prospect, 6'7", 265. Looks like it when you see him too. Florida State was his first official visit, and this is going to be really, really interesting moving forward because he's got South Carolina, Alabama, and Florida coming up in subsequent
Georgia
weeks.
too, I think.
And Georgia. Is that what's on the 25th? I think he has one. So the schedule
he said he wanted to visit there. Yeah.
So, Florida State is going to have to combat against some really heavyweight recruiting programs. And it's one of those things where it's his first official visit. You roll out the red carpet. You hope that you could set a good first impression. Now he goes off and sees other schools. Typically doesn't work out well for the first school that gets that official visit. Matt Lacer, still, what did he tell you after his visit? Do you think that there's hope for Florida State that they could have a serious chance to pull this kid?
Yeah, I'm not very high on this one here. I think it's going to be tough for Florida State to pull this one just because it was the first one. It was probably – look, life comes at you fast, especially when you're a late recruit.
Yes.
I think this is his first year playing football, and the film's been good for his senior year. But it's, with all those official visits still to come, even he was like, yeah, I love Florida State. Like, obviously they're high, but I still have to go see these other schools. Like, it's if Florida State can make a push down the stretch, maybe get him on campus for that Virginia Tech game, which is November 15th, one of the dates listed on there?
Let me check. Yes, that is his Alabama official visit weekend, the 14th.
So never mind. You're probably not going to be able to get him back on campus. With that being said, yeah, this is a long road ahead. So I think if you can be consistent, continue pushing, do well behind the scenes, sure, you can have a chance. But this is going to be an uphill climb the whole way. It was just tough, and it's good you got him in. It's always good to get him in and show him
Take your
around.
shot.
But
Take your
yeah,
shot.
no, take your shot for sure. But this is gonna be a tough one, especially because he's so adamant on visiting other places and taking this full process because he got into it so late.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Toby Hostra. It kind of reminds me of that kid's recruitment last year, where
A lot like that. Except that kid is freaky athletic.
and he was already freaky athletic, and he looks like a 35-year-old bodybuilder when you looked at him. I mean, that kid had a
kid was
physique.
insane.
He was built out the yin yang. Some other visits on campus that were here over the past weekend. Dreamer Shad, Purdue tight end commit. Florida State did not offer him. They're going to keep watching him per what he said to you following that visit. Indicates that they probably feel like they have a better chance with somebody else. Obviously, they have Corbin Fordham and Xavier Tiller committed to this class already, still taking the tires on Heze Kent. If that falls through, rather, then I think you probably see an offer here to Dream Rashad. I think you agree with that sentiment, but good to get him in here on campus. Good to express some interest, keep that lukewarm. And if you're unable to turn some other guys, then you get Tim back on campus for an official visit, I imagine, and an official offer.
Yeah, I feel like this one. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because he was with his older brother, but it was clear that Florida State had been in contact. Like this wasn't just, or not older brother, sorry, younger brother. His brother's a 2027 recruit, I believe. But it's, it was clear that Florida State's been talking to him, and it wasn't like he was just here with his brother. And Steve Wiltfong reported that before, or like I believe Thursday, that he was coming on campus. And I think this is one we have to wait and see. Obviously, if they're going to take 3 tight ends, Heze Kent is that number one option to get into the fold now. I don't think that's a secret, but it's kind of interesting that they're keep pursuing more tight ends, right? Like 3 tight ends is a huge tight end class. 2 tight ends is a huge tight end class. Like, so it'll kind of be interesting to see if they can get this third one in. I mean, look, we're going to talk about it later in the show to fill time, but Florida's got some stuff going on there, as we've said for a while now. So I think, number one is Heze Kent. If you miss on Heze Kent again, because Heze Kent's recruitment was really all over the place. Like you had Texas, Miami, you had a bunch of others in there where it wasn't really a clear Florida State-Florida battle, right? Like it was kind of Florida and everyone else jumbled up and switches every once in a while. And so, I think you look at Heze Kent first, but if that doesn't work out, it'll be interesting to see if they put a push on Dream.
No, and that's something that we should definitely talk about later in the show, because that situation is much more comfortable when Florida State is a good football team. And, when the last time we discussed, Florida getting off to a poor start, Florida State getting off to a good start with Blake Alderman. I can't remember if that was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at this point, but things have changed since then. And you have 2 coaches now that are really on a hot seat. And whereas Florida might be, after so many seasons of having Napier be on the hot seat, they might be officially done with him being on the hot seat. We'll get into this later, but Mike is getting there. That seat is scorching currently. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic for recruiting between the Florida State and Florida. We'll get into that a little bit later. 2027 4-star wide receiver Sean Green back for the second time. I think these are back-to-back visits, consecutive weeks. An early wide receiver target for Florida State, has offers to obviously Florida State, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Kentucky, Pittsburgh looks like. So a couple of Georgia schools, or a lot of the Georgia schools, already in, Florida State in already. Looks like they could be off to an early start with Sean here. What's kind of your take on his recruitment? Did you speak to him at all? What did he say?
Yeah, so I kind of spoke with him between the Miami visit and this one. Michael spoke with him after the game on Saturday, but it's I think it's pretty clear Florida State's the early leader here, right? You take 2 visits in a row, just that alone, like just him showing up shows me Florida State's the leader. I can't remember if he said that or not to Michael. I remember Michael coming over to me after the interview and telling me that they were the leader, which again didn't surprise me at all. Let me go find the old messages here with him real quick and tell you what he had told me after the Miami game. He liked the environment about the Miami game. He says the fans were crazy. I think, he did definitely say they are my top pick right now. And that was before the second visit. So it's clear that Florida State's the leader here, and he's a top guy. Like I think that's a really good receiver to be in on early.
And the last guy that we have on the list in terms of important visitors from the Pitt game, 2027 defensive lineman Seth Tillman, 4-star, if I remember correctly, out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. I'm going to be really proud of myself.
That is, I believe that is correct. Yeah.
We're so good at this. Got offered during his visit to Florida State. Said it felt like home. Florida State, Clemson, Miami, NC State, some early standouts for Seth Tillman. Obviously, when you're in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Clemson going to be a factor. South Carolina going to be a factor. Some of those more local schools definitely getting in there. You see that with NC State as well. And Miami can recruit just about anybody, anywhere, it feels like. Good for Florida State to get him on campus. Good to get him offered. Good to show him an environment. Not so great to show him a loss like that when you're looking like that, but you've got a lot of time to fix that over the course of the next year or so. What do you think about Seth and his recruitment so far, Matt? What kind of impression can they make on Tillman moving forward if they can get him back on campus another time this season?
Yeah, and I think Florida State has kind of tried to make it a priority again, recruiting the Carolinas, especially at a defensive line spot. Like the Carolinas is very good for defensive linemen, and if you look at every class, it always proves to be that way, right? So, and I think they did make a good impression. I know he talked to Knighton, had a good impression of Knighton. From watching the game, he liked the physical presence of the defensive line. He said he liked how they were playing in the backfield. Obviously, Pitt's freshman quarterback ran out and got away from that a lot, but that's besides the point.
That's not on the defensive line. I feel like that's on the linebacker, but anywho.
Yep. But yeah, it's good to get in on this one, and I think this is obviously Florida State made an impression here, and it's good to get them on campus from so far away. I believe Michael even asked him, was like, does them losing 3 in a row affect your recruitment? He went, no. So it's we say this all the time. Wins and losses don't really matter in recruiting unless you're really bad or you're really good. If you're in the middle somewhere,
coach is about to get fired.
Yes, that goes under the really bad side. But
yes, that's under the rug. Yes,
but I think in general that it's good that FSU got in on this one and is getting in on it early. Obviously, you got the offer this weekend. Just let's see how it goes. But yeah, I do think they're trying to make recruiting that area, the Carolinas, especially for defensive linemen, a priority. I know Knighton's gone up there quite a bit when they're able to travel.
Do you want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors of the Warpath in Dollar Shave Club? When you rep your team, Matt Lasser, you don't stop at the jersey. And when you're repping your team, maybe in a Birmingham, Alabama, where you're trying to get a six-pack and you got in a plastic bag.
It's wild.
You got to get that early morning shave going. Dollar Shave Club's collegiate razor handles can combine grooming with glory, letting students, grads, and fans show their school spirit in style. From the sink to the stadium, shave with school pride. Visit dollarshaveclub.com to grab your college handle today, and go Noles. Speaking of college handles and razors, did you know that I was seriously considering a small school in Birmingham, Alabama at one point when I was coming out of high school? Did I ever tell you this? I was considering
I didn't know. Oh, were you? I didn't know where you were going with like handle and school. Like I was wondering where that was going to go.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know Samford was here. I thought it was just UAB here.
No, Samford. Right in the middle of Birmingham, Alabama. Not like in the city. It's kind of like in the suburban area. But no, one of the schools that I was considering coming out of high school, because I went to a private Christian school down in South Florida called Westminster Academy. Curiously enough, safeties coach Evan Cooper coached there at one point. Safeties coach Evan Cooper was there when I was at Westminster Academy down in South Florida, up in the Pompano area. So, small worlds.
There you go.
But I was considering going to Samford for college, and then I went there and I said, this is exactly like high school. And I said, screw that. I want a program that has a good football team.
Do they even have their FCS, right? Do they have a good football team for FCS?
They're FCS.
I mean, they've produced some talent over the years. You got like the Bowdens, or came through there at one point, right?
Yeah.
I know your old buddy Pat Burnham went through there at one point. Yep. There's a bunch of other some other talent there. I mean, I feel like they get a lot of coaching talent on their young going way up.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful place. Birmingham's a very nice place.
It is. It's been cool. It's actually a cool city. The little bit I've been out of this room.
Thanks again to Dollar Shave Club. for sponsoring the Warpath. Genuinely appreciated for your support in
100%.
all things with Florida State recruiting. A couple of OVs did get scheduled to Florida State. Fat Boy Wiggins, who that is a fantastic nickname. That might be nickname of the calendar year.
And he's not fat at all.
And
just by the way.
Yeah. Have we asked Fat Boy why he's named Fat Boy? Has that come up yet?
I haven't really had the chance with him. When I've talked to him, it's been like
your journalistic
really
integrity is through the floor. That is the first question that you ask.
So. It's an awesome nickname, but is it Quantavious?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's his real name. But the running back out of Langston Hughes. Okay. I mean, I'm sure everyone else calls him that. That's what all of his Instagram and Twitter handles are.
Yeah. I wonder if he if I saw him and I said, "Hey, Fat Boy," would he
probably
turn his head?
I bet he would.
Okay.
At this point, I think he embraces it. I would bet on it. Yeah.
You want to bet something?
I would bet on
it. Okay. We'll settle at the end of the show.
You got to get back. You got to get back on the bench first.
I do.
That's the first half of it.
I saw that the bench was fixed. That it was fixed.
It is fixed. Yeah, all three spots are there.
So for those of you who have not been to game day or have not been at the Moore Center in a while, and these chairs have been around forever, but there are these two abhorrently uncomfortable benches. There's actually multiple benches, but those are the benches that we sit on I don't sit on when recruits are in town. And 247's Chris Nee has been on those benches so frequently, and now we're part of the problem here too. Don't get me wrong, but those benches have more often than not been broken at some point because they've been sat on time and time and again. And that's actually where their podcast name comes from, by the way, On the Bench, because those benches are that prominent. But the one of the benches outside was completely and utterly broken to where one of the sides of the bench is off the hinges, and I think that is actually where Chris sits most of the time. So sorry, Chris. And now they're completely fixed. Good on Florida State for giving us our horribly uncomfortable benches back. We appreciate that.
Now we're going to have to move to the benches are about to be retired, but anyway.
Wait, the benches are about to be retired?
Well, because we go over to the new facility.
Oh, that's true. Are they going to do they have benches at the new facility? I
haven't looked that close up yet. I walk past it all the time and I haven't looked that close up yet.
I hope we at least
next week.
I hope we at least graduate to more comfortable benches instead of regressing to no benches whatsoever.
I kind of doubt it.
Around for 6 hours on a Sunday. Are you ready to stand?
That's gonna be fun.
Yep. It had gotten so bad that we had to beg for people not to take the golf carts when they stack the golf carts outside. That's how bad it got, folks. I know. Poor us. What a horrible lot in life we lead. That is one rabbit trail. We're really filling time this week. Fat Boy Wiggins coming in for an official visit November the 1st. That is for the Wake Forest game. That is after the bye week, of course. And this looks like the new running back target for Florida State. Derek Cooper obviously cooled off massively. Carson Baker, that may still be in play. Considering what happens to Billy Napier, but things have at least cooled down there momentarily to now where Florida State feels like they need to extend and get some other guys on campus, get involved with some other guys, and they've gone straight to the backup at Langston Hughes behind Carson Baker. Backup is the wrong way to say it. They're obviously sharing carries, but Fat Boy Wiggins going to be coming in for an official visit. Where do you kind of grade Florida State's chances with Wiggins, especially considering the fact that they're also recruiting his teammate? Is that playing a factor into any of this? What's kind of the temperature there?
So I think I would call the Carson Baker recruitment kind of cooled until Billy gets fired. Then we'll kind of see where we're at with that. But as of now, I think Wiggins has moved into that top target probably, right? That they're going to push for. The rest of them don't really make sense. Maybe Amari Thomas gets back, but we've talked a lot about that and think that one is unlikely. This is probably one you can get easy. I believe Auburn offered recently as well, but again, their coach is on the hot seat as well. So this is he's committed to FIU, man. If you can't get a flip from FIU, there's some major problems. But I mean, hey, look, here's a stat. I got his 40 time from him. Guess what his 40 time is?
4.42.
Jesus.
Was
Did
I
you read
right?
the message boards? Yeah, no, you're dead on. Like it's that's
No,
exactly what he told me it was.
I did
That's
not
yeah.
read the message boards, but I don't know if you knew this. I do this for a living.
Yeah, 4.42. The kid is quick.
That is quick.
So I think that fits in well to this offense too. Maybe not like he's probably running back, yeah, but like we saw what happened with Danzy. Now this isn't the build of Danzy, but you have track star speed. Gus can use that in a lot of different ways. The thing about it, like if you pair that up with Usman, who's a bruiser, hard to get down, with a speedster like Wiggins, like that's a pretty good combo right there for down the road, in my opinion.
Agreed. And you're getting some of the same things that you would have gotten with Carson Baker as well. Like Carson Baker is elite track.
Is that
same
thing. I bet you. So, I'm not sure about this, but I bet you they run the 4x1 together or something like that. They have to.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
So, hey, maybe Florida State finds themselves a gem. Obviously, Gus likes to play with speed, likes to have guys that have speed.
And he was on campus for the Pitt game, and that visit went well as well. Didn't get details on that, but he said it went well.
Okay,
I'd say that part.
Right? Yeah, that's a good note as well. Josh Warren, a JUCO edge rusher, trying to set an official visit to Florida State. We believe for the Virginia Tech game on November 15th.
So he was also on campus for the Pitt game. He said it went great. It was his first time on campus. They did not offer him while he was on campus. They offered over the phone the next day. And he was very excited because he instantly texted me that he got the offer before he tweeted it and everything. And he was pretty excited about it. Yeah. That's you guys got a note on the board first before anyone else. So that's why you should subscribe. But anyway, he was pretty happy about it. And I asked him where they stand that now that they're in the race. He said they're one of his top picks. Other schools in that race were at the time, and this is Monday, NC State, Colorado State, and Minnesota. Again, this is one that I believe he's in Georgia at Georgia Military College.
And he's from Wharton. He's from Tampa, Florida. So
yeah, you should be able to pull this one if you want him, right? This is another one where you're going against some lower tier schools compared to what Florida State is as a brand. If you push here, you can get them. If you don't get them, there's probably some lack of push there, like wasn't a take, something like that. But to get offered this late in the process when you're he's JUCO, but when you're a 2026 guy, well, yeah, no, he should still be considered a 2026 guy because JUCO doesn't get rid of your eligibility anymore. You still have all 4 years. So it's another one that if Florida State wants, they can have him. Again, looking to get back on campus for November 15th.
Want to take a second to thank one of our other sponsors for the Warpath. I want to talk to you about Andy Ludicky from MyPerfectFranchise.net. Are you sick of your job? Are you ready to leave the corporate rat race? Do you want to diversify, leave a legacy, build wealth? Do you have a job? And do you want a side hustle in addition to that job? Well, Andy can help you. He is a franchise consultant as well as a franchise owner. And he helps people find franchises that fit their skill sets, their passions, their financial requirements, their preferences, all of that. His services are 100% free. He's here to help you if you have any questions about any kind of business ownership. He also loves college football, so talk to him about Florida State, Georgia Bulldogs, any college football in your immediate area. He'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Head to myperfectfranchise.net to learn more. You could text or call Andy at 404-973-9901. Again, that is 404-973-9901. Thank you so much, Andy, for being a sponsor of the Warpath. Okay, we talked about it earlier in the show, something that we might want to get into. It's this fascinating recruiting I hesitate to call it a battle because it's not even a battle that you really want, but it is a battle of whose coach gets fired first, if at all, and where these recruits go. It is a fascinating development that is happening in the state of Florida right now, where you have Miami, that is clearly the best team in the state, maybe the best team in the country right now. And you have two other programs in the Big Three, Florida and Florida State, routinely peeing down their legs against competition that they should be beating. Now, Florida obviously getting a upset win over Texas at the time, unable to win their following game against Texas A&M this past week. Obviously, one was on the road, one was not. It's going to be really interesting, Matt, to see what kind of happens with some of these recruitments, because as we talked about earlier in the show, it wasn't that long ago where you and I were sitting here talking to Blake saying, hey, if Florida State continues to have a good season, they may be able to start picking off some of Florida's high school commitments, especially if they continue down on a downward trend. But now they're in the same train car. We have regressed from first class to community seating. That's not actually, it's not community seating, commercial seating. There we go. We've regressed to commercial seating. Where do we go from here, Matt Lasair? Because if Florida State messes around and loses on the West Coast to Stanford on Saturday night, it's going to get to a point where Mike's seat is so hot that
if they lose, he's gone.
Yeah,
like there's
that's
no
what I think
it.
too. That's what I think too. But it's the conversation that has dominated the Florida State beat all week. It's like buyout or no buyout. If you mess around and lose to Stanford, are you gone? I think he's gone. You think he's gone, but that has ripples across the entire recruiting show. You're going to see a massive wave of decommitments, as is natural to do so. You have Florida that also may fire Billy Napier this week, according to some reports.
I think he's gone this week, no matter what, right? That's the reports. He'd win or lose.
Scott Strickland is at least seriously considering it. Yeah. What's kind of your head about what happens here? What do you think is most likely?
Yes, but I actually think, look, Stanford is really bad. I had to do the matchup analysis thing, like really, really, really bad. Like it's insane how bad.
Almost as bad as Florida State was last year. It exactly
it might be
as
worse.
Bad as Florida State.
Yeah,
they were 2-10. They were 2-10, weren't they?
Yeah. Like it, but dude, it's so bad. Like if you lose this game, Mike's done. There's no debate about it. He's probably getting left in Palo Alto. But it's like even if at that point you don't care about the buyout, like you probably can't fund a roster next year keeping him, right? That's what you come down to with it, because no one's going to support him, and you're going to lose a ton more people than you already lost after the Pitt game. So there's that. But in general, I do think they'll win, and I actually think Mike's going to stay until next season at least. So I think that's the more likely outcome. And with that, I was thinking about this on my drive up here yesterday. So Billy's likely getting fired on Sunday. Win or lose, the reports are that he's probably done. They've kind of just been waiting for the bye week to really pull the trigger, but it sounds like the money's there and everything's ready to go and pull the trigger on on Billy. And we already pulled the trigger.
Willie Napier.
We already pulled the trigger on Willie a long time ago, and just finished paying him, by the way. But it's but I
does it grind your gears that he found an NFL job after that? I mean,
the Ravens don't look too good.
No, they don't. But
he is Derrick Henry to bail them out of a lot of things, since he's the running backs coach.
I mean, not every assistant coach is going to make a great head coach, but there is something to be said for failing upwards. I mean, Willie Taggart and Adam Fuller can speak to that in terms of recently, so which is insane. Anyways, continue.
But anyway, so what is the biggest complaint about Mike Norvell's the Mike Norvell era at Florida State? Recruiting?
I wonder what it could possibly be.
Yeah.
If it's not recruiting, it's maybe that he's too nice. Because I think maybe I'd like to see Mike be a little bit more cutthroat sometimes. I think he can.
I think he is behind closed doors. Yeah, behind closed doors.
Well, I hope so.
But if Billy gets fired and Norvell keeps his job, do you have a chance to really save your job by stealing UF commits as they decommit come back on the board? Let's think about it. You can have a chance to get Hezzy Kent, Carson Baker, Caden Hall. That might push you into the top 10. It's going to put you close. You hold on to Jay Timmons. Obviously, you're going to hold on to Chauncey Kennan. You're looking at a top 10 class for the first time if you can get some of those guys that were close battles with UF that you lost out on.
Which, speaking of, we didn't mention this, and we do need to. Jay Timmons is going to take an official visit to Ohio State.
We'll get into that after this debate. We have a lot of time to fill.
It's a very interesting conversation because even if Napier gets fired this week and there's a bunch of decommitments from Florida, Mike still has to survive till the end of the season to cash in on any of this. And he is going to have to do some of the best recruiting of his entire tenure, I think. Because now you are not selling yourself on, what was it, 20 straight victories or something along those 19 straight victories. You're not selling yourself on 2022, 2023. You're selling yourself on the future again. And that's really sucky to say about a guy in year 6 is you're selling your future. But Mike and his staff are going to have to do some of the best recruiting that they've ever done in order for these commits to say, okay, we're decommitting from Florida, but we want to make sure that we don't hop out of the fryer into the frying pan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get that. But I think, I honestly think Mike will be okay. And this is if he's okay and you can steal these commits and you can somehow pull a top 10 class out of your ass, things look a whole lot better, even if you're 7-5 at the end of the year.
I mean, I think the one person that you probably have the best chance with is probably Heze Kent, because I think it was Florida State there at the end. Maybe Texas poking around as well.
And especially because he visited and was still on campus on that Sunday. I would go from rankings off of Florida commits off the top of my head. I would go Heze Kent, and then Caden Hall is the second best chance, and then Carson Baker. I think Carson Baker could fly up that list really quickly. But those are the three in order that I think of first.
But also, I think with Heze, I think that they're the whole tight end offensive tackle thing, I think Mike would probably put up with it at this point. Put up maybe not be the right word, but I mean, they're willing to take him as a tight end. And I don't know how many other programs are willing. If Heze decommits from Florida, Billy Napier gets fired, and he goes sending out, hey, you up text to a bunch of the programs that were recruiting him before he committed to Florida, how many of those programs are going to be able to take a look at what they have and what they had gotten after official visits, take a look at the roster spots that are available and say, okay, I'll take a tight end offensive tackle. I feel like this is a Florida State is going to take that right now because of what they need. And, they need dudes, they need players, they need football players, right? I feel like Florida State is probably the one program that's going to be okay with that. Now, I could be wrong. There could be another school that presents itself, maybe a random school, like a Georgia Tech comes into play or something. I don't even know if he has an offer from Georgia Tech. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah.
But I think apart from that, I think when you're taking a look at Caden, I mean, obviously Alabama was really involved with Caden before he committed to Florida.
I look at Oklahoma for them outside of FSU. That was the other school that was kind of keeping more.
I just have my doubts that Mike is going to have to pull out a masterclass of recruiting in terms of being able to not only ward off negative recruiting from other programs saying that he could get fired. And
but this is his chance. What I'm saying is this is his chance to save it.
Right. And
this is the chance to completely flip the narrative and change it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And maybe you win at Stanford and maybe you win at Wake Forest, and then you can say, okay, we're back on a winning streak. You keep it close with Clemson. You beat Florida at the end of the year. That puts you at 8-4. Then you could probably say, okay, we're in an okay spot now. But do you agree with me that Mike is going to have the best recruiting that he's ever had? Because you're fighting off negative recruiting, and you're going to have to sell these kids on the product of Florida State, which has looked really bad recently.
And, look, that's the way it should be for this, because literally he's recruiting to save his job at that point in time. And again, he could complete, I was really thinking about it. I was like, well, if Billy's gone, he can completely flip the narrative. And we're not even you could try to circle back on your Chancellor Campbell's, and because you need an offensive tackle, and Florida's got a bunch of good ones that you were kind of warm on, but nothing ever happened with. There's a bunch of those in the UF class as well. So I really think, and KJ Ford is one that they had some contact with, an edge rusher who told me, and that was just preliminary contact, I think, nothing really major. But again, when the coach gets fired, you can turn up the heat and everything can change. So it's I think it's kind of weird to be saying recruiting for your job, but he's got a shot to do that here, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then you have a CJ Bronow, a Kendall Guerville.
Yeah, CJ Bronow's another one. I would think Kendall Guerville, Texas, maybe ups the bag there, maybe, or comes back around. But
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch of guys who you had relationships with who you can make a real push for that. And especially at positions in need. There's a bunch at positions in need.
Is it bad that I say that I don't trust Mike to get it done?
No,
Like,
because it just hasn't happened. But I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that there is a little like window here for him to completely flip it.
No, I agree. I mean, it's now or never for Mike.
Yeah.
Step one, if we're going logically into steps here, step one, win at Stanford. You cannot lose to Stanford, and that is scary. I cannot believe that I am saying, and I'm hearing myself say this right now, that Stanford in a 10:30 kick is a scary football game, but it is.
Anything
it's a
to the West Coast.
Sleepy 10:30 West Coast jet-lagged cluster.
Anything going all the way from East to West Coast is a scary kick for me. I mean, look, what makes it scary is Penn State just did it and lost to UCLA. I think that's what makes it more scary than anything else.
Yeah, but it's hard to think about that loss in a vacuum because UCLA was the worst team in the country and it wasn't close.
And Stanford is close there.
Yeah, but I guess the redeeming quality for me is that Florida State actually has an offense here. And Penn State has Drew Aller. Or had, well, now he's done for the season, but I don't think Drew Aller is a great quarterback at all.
Done for his college career.
Yeah. I mean, Florida State has an offense. They should be able I imagine the offense will be sleepy, but I feel like sleepiness shows up in the passing game more than the running game, and Florida State can run the football. So as long as, I don't know, who's next on the carousel of running backs to put it into the dirt? Are we on to Douglas, Jalen Lucas, the brother.
Cam Davis is out, so it can't be him. Was Roydell ruled out, or does he still have a shot?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the injury report was. It should have come out last night or the other night.
The biggest thing is that Jabril is out, which is surprising.
That is surprising. That is not great.
I did not expect that. And I sit out there every Tuesday, Wednesday, watch them walk in. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. So step one, you need to win at Stanford. Step two, Billy Napier needs to get fired. Step three, you need to recruit your behind off and have the best recruiting stretch of your entire tenure.
And if that happens, the narrative is completely flipped.
Easy. I mean, I could do it. I have no faith, Matt. I really don't. We're talking about somebody that really just couldn't capitalize off of a undefeated season. And
part of that's getting snubbed.
Part of it's getting snubbed, but also part of it is, man, the previous staff just did not evaluate well either. Like, I don't trust that they're going to go out and be able to capitalize momentum by getting guys that are going to truly be guys. You know, we're talking about big name guys right now, but like the Florida commits are not the only guys like in the pond. Like, you need to you need to land a guy like a Fatboy Wiggins. You need to land an edge rusher. You need to close the deal with Cameron Wilson or something. Like make sure that you are going after guys that you truly have evaluated well and trust, and you know that you can get. Because if you're going to invest your resources in guys that can't freaking play, you're going to continue to shoot yourself in the foot. And that goes back to the conversation that we had last week. That staff could not evaluate. They shot themselves in the foot, and you're just back in the portal. It's got to be the best. It's got to be the best high school recruiting. Yes, this is your chance. It's got to be the best high school recruiting stretch that Mike has ever had. Good luck, because this is, you're really in a rock and a hard place. The Pitt loss was about the worst thing that could have happened to you. You needed to win that football game.
The worst thing that could have happened to them, I have to go ship that game ball back now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, God. What was that conversation like?
Not great.
You don't want to elaborate?
It was just there weren't any calls or anything. It was more the silence that killed, I would say.
I would have to agree. Let me tell you, though, like, working the post-game show after that Pitt game with Tom and Gene, I've had to, because for those of you who don't know, like, I'm doing the post-game for the production for the post-game. Director Nick, that's me. Hi. I've been having to be glued to the chat for the past 3 games, but the
Why? Because it's
scroll
like
of Fire Mike is just like, and it's like I agree with you, but like some people were PO'd.
how many
Obviously.
F-bombs? Over under
25.
Oh, that's low.
25.
I thought it'd be higher. Maybe that's because it was a noon game. At 10:30 for this in-game live show, we might see a lot more if they go down.
I don't know.
Early.
I kind of walk with my pistols on my hip, you know.
Are you producing the in-game show tonight too?
I don't know. I don't know if I am.
Well, I'm live in the second quarter. If anyone's watching this before the game, I will be there live in the second quarter, or at least I'm supposed to be.
So I have to get with Tom about that. All right. We mentioned it early in the show. We probably should have covered this earlier in the show. Jay Timmons going to take an Ohio State visit. You caught up with Jay Timmons. What did he say about going to see the Buckeyes? We talked about this earlier, not early in the show, but a couple weeks ago when he got the Ohio State offer. Said, hey, don't be surprised if he goes looking. This is the national champions, defending national champions. He will. I don't know if we made a guarantee, but I said I would be surprised if he didn't go and visit. If not, I'm retroactively saying that I would not have been surprised if he went and visited. Now he has scheduled an official visit. Says things are good with Florida State, Matt. Do you feel like things are good?
Look, he is saying all the right things. That's for sure. Now, Steve Wiltfong did say, I think Ohio State has a chance. They're always going to have a chance.
Sure.
They're always going to have more NIL money to offer. They're always going to be the number one team in the country as of now and be a top. They're going to be a top contender for years to come. So yeah, they're going to have a chance. But in general, Florida State's look, this is one you have to keep, man. This is the battles that have been continually lost in Mike Norvell's time at Florida State, right? But this is a kid who's a legacy, was actually born in Tallahassee. You were on him before Ohio State was, before he was considered a 5-star talent by the industry. You have to keep this one, man. But now look, from talking to him, I am a little bit less worried. I asked him, is there anything Ohio State can do to sway you? And his response was if LeBron popped out, that'd be cool. That might be able to sway me. And that's if that happened, that's a pretty far out there thing, right? NBA preseason started. LeBron's probably not going to show up, but he's hurt.
I don't know, Matt. I don't know. You might have just given Ohio State the ticket to flick Jay.
Maybe they're on the phone right now with LeBron.
Oh, not the Ohio State FaceTime with LeBron James.
Hey, man, we can give him Steph Curry. Louts can come get Steph Curry on speed dial. But it's I feel pretty comfortable. He said this is just a visit. He did say he's committed to the program and the staff. So that makes me think that if Norvell were to get fired, that would lead to him going to Ohio State probably. But obviously, mostly if Norvell got fired, I wouldn't expect any of these kids to stay in the class. So we'll kind of see how it goes. Right now, I feel fine. Right now, and again, the visit's not until next weekend for the Penn State game, which is kind of funny because Penn State was the other school he visited. But I agree with him where it's you're only 17 and you get recruited like this once. Not many people get to do it. And I agree with him on that. If I were a recruit, I've always said I'd be going to every game. I'd probably wait till signing day to make a real decision because then you can up the price way too much and make yourself a big commodity. But it's all the drama. But it's I think right now I feel okay. Let's wait 2 weeks, see how the visit goes. He's saying all the right things. He even called it just a visit. So we'll see. I'm not worried at this point in time. Now, we always say we're not worried until they start taking visits, and now he's taking visits. So should we be a little bit worried? Yes, but I don't stop it with the on the boards instantly going, he gone. Let's let it play out a little bit. This is a little bit different circumstances with him having grown up an FSU fan. I know you guys have heard that one before, but having grown up an FSU fan, born in Tallahassee, and his dad played at FSU. That's a set of circumstances altogether we haven't seen yet with a flip.
I hearing you talk, I have a question. If you were a recruit, how much would you hate you, like Matt Lasser?
Oh, I would hate myself so much. But except I would be good to the media. I would try to answer all the phone calls or at least text back, right? Give answers over text at the very least. That would be, because then at that point everyone would like me, right? So I think I would still like myself then. But yeah, dude, Why not? Like literally, these kids.
As long as you're
like,
not blowing up my phone at 7 a.m.
Oh yeah, well that's a different story. That would make me a little mad. But it's we'll see. Like I would definitely wait because these prices, like you see these kids who recruitments are just now blowing up because they need teams need spots to fill or have needs they have to fill with somebody, right? Even if it's not a top kid, with somebody. So if you're like a mid 4-star kid and you just wait until signing day, like you're going to be getting more money than you're valued at. Like you're going to be getting way above market price. Why wouldn't I hope some recruits listening to this like, wow, you're right. I should just wait. And it's honestly more fun to cover when a kid waits. It makes it more drama, more buildup.
Yeah. Maybe for us, maybe not for the schools or the
programs
or the fans.
Yeah, I just said have fun. Have fun.
I know we're all about fun here on the Warpath, but that's a little too much fun. Just keep your word sometimes, kids. It's good to keep your word. That'll do it for this episode of the Warpath. Matt has got a hefty drive ahead of him.
It's only 5 hours
this afternoon. Only 5 hours. That's not that bad. Hey, when you drive from here to Tech or from Tallahassee to Texas, probably nothing is a long
That's
drive
like 12,
anymore.
13. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching the Warpath today. We'll be back next week, by week. We're going to have to figure out what to do next week. We'll try to get a guest.
We can put another mailbag on.
We could try a mailbag. Let us know what you want to see or what you want us to talk about in the comment section below. If you got any ideas, any topics, love to hear it. We'll try to figure out what to do for next week. Assuming, well, if Mike gets fired on Sunday, we're going to have a lot to talk about next week. So maybe we should park the brakes on that.
I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot about UF commits next week, scheduling visits for Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Let's manifest that.
Well, manifest. Good energy. We're good energy. Nobody's getting fired except for the coach of the rival that we dislike. Biased media? What? Who said that? Thank you for watching the Warpath. My name is Nick Carlisle. That is Matt Lasser. We'll see you next Friday with another edition of the Warpath. Have a great weekend and have a good time watching the game on Saturday night.